Yo, what is going on YouTube? We are out here, bro, with another banger. In this video, what I want to talk to you about is why you need to find satisfaction and fulfillment from becoming a better individual rather than just trying to aim for the next goal. Now, let me just break down what this video is going to be, the topic, and then you guys can know whether or not you want to exit out now or stay to the end. I'm just going to give you a brief summary and then we'll get right into the video. So the summary is basically like, in this video, I'm going to be talking to you about why, if you can focus on finding satisfaction and fulfillment in becoming a better individual, then your life's going to feel so much more fulfilling. You're going to have so much more satisfaction with doing whatever it is you're doing rather than just waiting for that end result, because the end result is going to feel good for a matter of a second and it's going to be gone. It's going to fleet, and it's not going to be fulfilling if you're constantly chasing the goal just for the goal to be vanished rapidly, right? So if you guys can get from this video the sense that like what you're doing is actually enjoyable in the process, then this is going to be something you want to watch. If you don't think that will be valuable, then just kindly skip to the next video. But in this video, guys, I want to talk to you about why, like so many people, we're constantly chasing this dopamine cycle, right? Like once I have this goal and I attain it, then I'm going to be satisfied. And I want you to just think back on the last time you achieved a goal you set out for yourself, how you felt afterwards. You probably didn't even realize that you hit the goal until so much later afterwards. And it's frustrating when you don't even, feel grateful for what you have, because life just gets, so like pointless if you're constantly chasing the next big thing, right? Because you're constantly having to look for bigger and bigger goals and you're never even appreciating where you're at, and you're on this hamster wheel going back and forth, just literally chasing the next big thing. And you look back one day in life and you realize that this whole time you haven't even been appreciative of what you do have and feeling grateful and blessed for what is in your life, that it gets difficult. So I wanted to hop on here and just talk on this because, I'm tired. I didn't feel like making this YouTube video, but I try to make it a habit of mine to consistently put out value to you guys. And what kind of sparked the topic for this video was the fact that, each and every YouTube video I put out, every time that I'm recording the video, it feels, or most of the time when I record the video, it feels like I'm not providing any value. It feels like what I'm talking about is pointless. And then I watch it back and I'm like, okay, that was actually a little bit better than I thought. Or I'll hear somebody say, like, that was actually valuable. And after enough time, what I'm starting more and more to realize is it's actually the fulfillment in the process itself. I'm always posting these videos thinking that, like, once the video is out there, it's going to have this sense of satisfaction. And really what's happening is it's in the middle process, in the journey, where things become enjoyable. And if you don't look back and appreciate what you do have, then it all rapidly vanishes, right? And I've realized more and more and more that as I've put out these videos, I've actually become super fulfilled with the process of posting YouTube videos, of creating YouTube videos, of helping people and aiming to put value into this world. But in the past, I think a major reason why my YouTube content didn't pop, why it didn't feel natural, was because I was trying to look for the end result of having more subscribers or having more followers, or having a video that got a bunch of attention, rather than focusing on talking about the things that were actually on my chest. And so when I started to lean into that, like helping people, like how can I actually provide value, life became a lot better. And when I say better, what I mean is, like, it's such a satisfying feeling when you can feel yourself improving day in and day out. And for those of you guys out there that resonate with what I'm saying, you'll know exactly what I mean, right? When I say it, like, when you are going into the gym, working out, building muscle, getting stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger every single day, it feels good just knowing that you're trying, right? Like, you're doing the tricep press downs, you're doing your goblet squats, you're doing your deadlifts, your rows, all of the exercises. You're walking on the treadmill, you're drinking your water, hitting your protein target, you're hitting your vegetables, your fruits, you know what I'm saying? You're doing all of this stuff, right? You're sleeping, you're getting up early, you're doing all the things that bring you to the betterment of yourself. And then you just look in the mirror and you're like, yeah, I look good, or like I've, attained a better physique. But you probably notice like it's not actually that fulfilling. So now when you're doing all of these things and you're focusing on bettering yourself, you will notice when you look back that it really was the person you became in the process, that character development, that confidence you gained, that feeling of discipline, the characteristic traits of going every single day to the gym when you don't feel like doing it, eating the foods that you don't feel like eating them, until eventually they become seeped into your DNA, part of who you are as an individual. And these are the traits that carry over into all avenues of your life. When I say that fitness carries over into all avenues of your life, giving you having a six pack doesn't give you tangible results with your career. It looks cool, bro, from the outside, but what it does is it teaches you discipline. It teaches you how to hold yourself accountable. It teaches you how to feel confident in your own skin, how to feel like you are the best version of yourself, to feel, how to put off the short-term pleasures for the long-term results, right? How to control your eating patterns, control yourself, keep your disciplines in check. These are the habits that carry over into other avenues of your life, because that is what improves your relationships, your career, your finances. It's not the end result, it's the disciplines that give you the end result that truly matter. And so, this is why I post so much about fitness genuinely changing your life, because it will change your life if you actually take it serious, because our body and our mind are going to work together. But if you don't ever start, if you don't ever put your foot down and say, I want to be better, then you're never going to get there. The thing is, though, when you get there, you realize that it was never about like the end result. It's about becoming better in the process. And the feelings of you working towards bettering yourself is something unimaginable. I don't think I can describe it. But when you're getting stronger, when you're improving your confidence, when you're noticing other areas of your life improve, that's truly what's fulfilling. And so when you can do things like that, it's going to improve your life tenfold. Another example is reading books. When you're reading a book, it's not ever when the book's over that you feel accomplished. Like maybe for a brief second, but for me, every time I read a book, I catch myself when I first start reading it that in the beginning, I'm trying to finish the page, trying to finish the chapter, trying to finish the book. And then by the time I finish the book, I realize, wait a second, like I just missed so much, right? But when I look at it as, okay, I'm going to read this and actually just absorb becoming better in the process, it's such an addicting feeling knowing that you're getting better as a person, that you're expanding yourself into your full potential. And people don't look at it in that light in the middle process. They look at the end result. What can I get from it? How can I get there? Right? But like it's like sometimes you just have to look back and realize that where you're at currently in the moment is what's most gratifying. Me creating this YouTube video is fulfilling. And the more that you can put fulfillment and find peace from the work itself, the middle process, like I talk on so many other videos in my channel, that's when you're going to start to actually appreciate life. When you're looking for the next big thing and you're always focusing on trying to get there. Once I have the job, then I have the promotion, then I have the break, then I have the vacation, then I have the pay raise. Like, bro, you're never actually experiencing life. You're literally having anxieties and worries and fears for the future. And in the Bible, it literally says anxieties, worries, and fears come from the devil. Like, bro, if you want to actually be able to enjoy life, you need to be in the present moment, taking advantage of where it is that you are currently, what you have. If you're always focused on the next big thing, or if you're always focusing on the past, you're not living life. You're literally experiencing memories, or you're using, doubt and worry to control your life. And people hold themselves back in life because they're over fixated on the end result, on the next destination, or on the past. But if you can start to shift your life into the experience of what you're currently doing, that is when life starts to open up and unfold, and you actually get to experience it. When I started going to the gym many, 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 many years ago, I always wanted to get into shape. I always wanted to put on a bunch of muscle mass. My goal was to get to X weight, and when I got to X weight, then I was going to be satisfied. And I shortly realized that as I got into the fitness journey, it was really that process of being in the gym, working out, on the runs, like doing the cardio. Like that was the fulfilling process, not when I had the thing. And it's funny because it's this weird thing with fitness where you will never get to a point where you feel satisfied with yourself. And some people label that like, body dysmorphia or whatever, but really what it is it's as you're starting to achieve your goals, your brain is like looking for something greater. It's trying to get the next best thing, which is good because you're setting high expectations, high goals for yourself, and you're ultimately focusing on becoming better and better and better. But you need to understand that in the process of doing the work itself and shifting yourself mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, financially, that is really when the work comes. And when the work comes is when you're fully locked in the moment. Because it's a good feeling when you're stretching yourself to your max capabilities. If you're learning, you're growing, you're expanding, that means that you're not contracting, you're not shrinking, you're not, staying comfortable. I think that so many people deal with, you know, anxieties because they're worried about the future. People feel depressed because they are so comfortable in their own situations. But if you can focus on growth, on expansion, on becoming the best possible version of yourself, then you're going to realize that the whole journey was there right in front of you the whole time. When I started my fitness journey, I always looked towards that end result. And when I started to realize that it was in the process, in the gym, you know, doing the things that were uncomfortable, that's when I start to find comfort. I start to lean into finding comfort in the discomfort, meaning that I knew, okay, it's hard, it sucks, all these things. But wait a second, I can actually perceive this the way I want to perceive it. I don't have to think of it as sucking, right? Like I can actually determine how I want to experience this emotion. I have control over how I feel about these exercises, being in the gym, because it's actually uncomfortable to be comfortable, right? Like think about that, bro, for a second. Like if it was uncomfortable being uncomfortable, what would that mean? That would mean that you hated staying in the exact same spot. And I'm sure you guys watching this video probably do agree with that, right? Like you hate being in the exact same spot in your life. So now if you can understand that staying in the exact same spot is what comfort is, and expanding and growing is uncomfortable, then you can start to fall in love with the uncomfortable things because you're falling in love with the person you're becoming and the fullest, truest potentialities of your life. And you can actually start to hate and despise staying in the exact same spot, staying comfortable. This is how people find internal motivation and they start attaching their why to the things that are important. If you can start to find enjoyment in the work and becoming better and pushing yourself to become the next 2.0 level, right? Like you can do these things. That's when life gets better. You fall in love with the process. You actually lose yourself in the work. You lose yourself in that middle process and you start to experience life. You start to live life because you're not focused on the future or the past. You're focusing on the future, but you're living in the now. And living in the now is what allows you to actually experience life. People are constantly focused on the next big thing, and it's sad to say that a lot of times people hold themselves back because they're not even living in the current moment. They're living in like their mind is elsewhere while their body is moving, right? And I think it's good to set high goals for yourself, but you need to understand that if you don't ever appreciate where you're at currently, then it's going to be very, very difficult for you to ever experience anything ever. And you're going to be on this constant, never ending hamster wheel. So just appreciate where you're at and understand that the stair steps you're taking towards getting to that next level of yourself are uncomfortable, and that uncomfortable can, like, those feelings of uncomfort can discomfort can bring you, feelings of peace and happiness and comfort, because truly you should be comfortable becoming the best possible version of yourself. You should want that for yourself, and if you don't, then you probably wouldn't be watching this video. But I can tell that you're watching this because you want to become a better version of yourself. You want to become a person that is capable of doing the things that they thought or they heard or they saw somebody else do or say for themselves, right? If you are somebody that has big goals and aspirations, you need to understand that they're truly so possible. You just don't believe in yourself enough. And if you were to if you were to just exceed your expectations once in your life, you would realize how much more in life was possible. So, like, for myself personally, when I got on my fitness journey and I started to really put the end goal as the forefront of my mind, but shift away from that and just experience the process itself, that's when I started to fall in love with the fitness journey. And the fitness journey allowed me to excel because I loved it so much. I wanted to get better. I wanted to build muscle. I wanted to stay lean. I wanted to do all these things because it was addicting, feeling the feelings of I'm actually, achieving my full capabilities. That is what allowed me to get into the best shape of my life. Now, I'm nowhere near the best shape of my life because I have so much more potential, so much more growth. But the reasons that I was able to make progress in the gym, don't mind me, I'm kind of yawning. It's like 2 a.m., bro, but I had to make this YouTube video for y'all. So yeah, um, when I started to, put my future self first, I started to find, you know, enjoyment in the process. And all the times where I leaned back into, like, oh, like when I have this thing, when I am this way, when I look this way, it was never fulfilling, bro. So find fulfillment in the work itself, in the process, in the middle journey, and you're gonna realize how everything opens up for you. And it's the exact same thing with anything in life. Like when I started to build my business in the beginning stage, there were so many times where I was so upset and mad at myself that I wasn't where I wanted to be. I wanted to get to the business to a certain point, financially, spiritually. I wanted to help more people. I wanted to help more clients. I wanted to do things in my business and just like skip steps. And I was frustrated that I wasn't where I wanted to be. And then I started to realize more and more that each time I thought that way, I was actually missing out on experiencing life itself. And then I thought to myself, one day I had this clear thought, and I literally have goosebumps as I say this, but I had this thought one day, like, you know, imagine what would happen if I finally got my business to the point that I wanted to get it to. And then I had to look back and think on the journey when I was successful, when I did have the business that I felt called to bring it to the position it was at. And I had to think back to myself, like, imagine or remember when I grew that business. And imagine if, like, all of my thoughts were just like that whole time I hated it. I was miserable. I was pissed off at myself because I, didn't achieve the thing sooner. And I thought to myself, like, I don't want that. Like, I don't want my business, my memories of growing this business up to be, during that time when things were tough. And when I started to lean into that and realize, like, okay, like, let's just like find fulfillment in the process. Let's, start to just accept where we're at and have fun with it. When I started to do that, that is when the success actually took off in my business and I actually saw the results I was after. And because I had, these goals of, like such high expectations for myself, I started to really drift from the work and the middle process, and I started to really just put my attention on the end goal. And I had to take some steps back and realize, like, yo, if I can just appreciate where I'm at right now, how far I've come, and how much potential I have left to go, and how it's supposed to be hard, and it's not supposed to be for everybody, and not everybody's an entrepreneur, and like I'm actually able to help people with their fitness, with their business. Like when I started to do those things, it became so much more enjoyable. And then I fell in love with the process. And then falling in love with the process, it made me literally wake up every single day and look forward to doing what I do. Like when I was younger, I used to be depressed literally, bro, all of the time, bro. I literally would wake up and I would like despise doing what I had to do, like working a regular job, going into a job where I felt undervalued, all of these things simply because I wasn't fulfilled by what I was doing because I knew that I had a better calling. I knew that I wanted to bring like Jesus into my business and help more people with their fitness, with their faith, with their mindset. I wanted to help people with the nutrition and the psychology coaching. I wanted to help people become the best possible version of themselves. And so when I worked regular 9 to 5 jobs, when I worked under an employee, when I worked for people that told me like you can't do this, you can't do that, you have to work these set hours, you can't, be on social media posting content at work, like obviously, right? When I had those like restrictions on my life, on my business, I literally hated every single day waking up, and I had to overcome that. I had to really realize that I am so grateful for what I do have. But when I was able to have the opportunity to work for myself, to make the kind of money I wanted to make, to create the business I want to create, to create the impact I wanted to make, to bring Jesus as the forefront of my business and help people come to know him. When I started to have clients reach out to me and tell me on Christmas Day, on New Year's, that what I was doing with their with working with them was like making a genuine change on them, that they were feeling more confident, they were feeling like they were actually becoming the best possible version of themselves. When I had clients start to see, like I would see with my own two eyes, clients post on their social media that they were getting close to Jesus, that they were putting Christ first. When I started to see that, that's when I realized that there really was this domino effect that was happening because of me and my business, truly because the Lord gave me these opportunities and I started to put him first, right? But in the past, when I worked other jobs, I didn't see that I didn't feel that sense of accomplishment. I didn't feel that sense of I'm doing all in my power. And I truly think that's why I woke up every single day not feeling like I was fulfilling my true calling. But when I shifted into okay, what is actually possible for me? And I asked the Lord and he gave me the opportunities, I started to realize that I truly was in the middle of enjoying and having the things I wanted for myself. And when I started to just realized that everything I was hoping for, everything that was, my dream, I was living at the current moment. When I started to do that, life became enjoyable. And I started to realize that I was actually about to miss out on these opportunities and these memories if I didn't, just become present with where I was at. So I started to really step into being present, right? Being aware and being grateful for what I did have. And even when times felt like they were tough, when I felt like I didn't have all the answers, I realized that life is not about having all the answers. Life is about expanding yourself, becoming the best possible version of yourself, getting 1% better, 5% better, bro, 10% better every single day, bro. There's so much potential you have left that is untapped, but you're not taking advantage of it because you don't believe in yourself and because you're not fully aware. When you can get aware and become aware of where it is you want to go, and realize that there are people that have so much potential out there, and you are one of those people. When you can start to think that way, everything's going to open up for you. You have to put the most important things first. So like for some of you guys watching, that might be your faith, that might be opening your Bible, like talking to God. For other people, like it might be like maybe you already have a relationship with God. Like maybe for you it's going into the gym consistently, exercising, cutting out the BS foods, eating the quality foods, actually doing the things that you should be doing with your life. Maybe that's educating yourself more, connecting with people. Maybe that's cultivating better relationships. Whatever the case is, if you can become a better version of yourself, you're going to feel so fulfilled with yourself. And so I think that getting closer to knowing God, putting your health first, putting your fitness first, you know, and just being grateful for where you are allows you to, start to have the wisdom and understanding of like where to go next. And if you don't know where you're at currently and you're not aware of these things, then it's going to be hard to, separate where you are from where you want to go, right? If you're constantly living in worry or in, fear or in the past, it's going to be very, very challenging to get to that next level. But if you are aware of where you are, you're living the present and you're living in gratitude, then life's gonna get way better. And like when life gets better, you can actually appreciate these things and you can actually look forward to where it is you want to go. And like I said, the last thing I wanted to do was get to a position in my life and be so focused on the end goal and then get there and realize that whole time horizon that I was working towards getting here, I missed because I wasn't even focused on the present. I was focused on the future. So become aware with where you are in your life and be grateful for it, be thankful for it, because without the flip side of the hardships, the difficulties, the turbulations, or whatever it's called, turbulence, I don't know, bro. I'm tired, bro. Without all these hard times, is where I'm going. It's not going to feel as good for you to look back on the good times, right? Like you're not going to appreciate the good times if you don't have the hardships you go through. So on every flip side of life, the hard things you're going through are actually, allowing you to experience the good things even greater. So experience those hard times. Go through those hard times and be grateful for where it is you are, what you do have, because I can guarantee you what you're living, where you're living right now, the life you have right now was once something that you prayed for, you asked God for. You probably at one time in your life prayed and asked God and even just envisioned that you would be at the point you're at right now. And now you're not grateful for it. You're not experiencing, you're not fully tapped into where you are in the current moment. But if you can start to look at that point of like, okay, where I'm at is actually the best version of myself. Um and I have of course more room to go, but like where I'm at right now is where I was being led this whole time. Like if you can look at it from that light, it's gonna get more and more fulfilling knowing that you're actually getting closer. And I think we get caught up in this cycle of like every single day, like just waking up, doing the same thing, same daunting tasks over and over and over. And I think that you should set high goals for yourself because as you set high goals for yourself, you end up doing more. But understand that life is supposed to be lived. It's supposed to be enjoyed. It's supposed to be filled with purpose, right? Like you should be living your passion out. And so if you realize that every day feels like it's the same, then you need to reassess like where you're at and where you have been trying to go. Have you been making consistent progress? Have you been getting closer to where did you want to go? Do the goals that you have for yourself actually line up with the person you want to be? If you could look back 90 days from now, would you be satisfied with where the trajectory of your next 90 days is headed? If the answer to that question is no, then you still have time. Make changes, put different plans into action. If you feel that the last 90 days of your life, you felt you didn't make that much progress, that's okay. Accept it, be aware of it, but understand that if you want to get to the next position in your life, you want to make changes, then it starts with changing things today. Because if you don't make a change today, you put off for tomorrow, that tomorrow becomes the next day, that the next day becomes the next day, etc., etc., etc. And eventually you realize I just wasted 3 months of my life and we're wasting time, which leads to wasting our life. And that usually comes from the fact that we just don't plan and we don't think, we don't sit back with awareness around where we are, how we got here, what we're doing with our life, how we're spending every waking minute of every waking day of every waking part of our life. And maybe what you're doing in your life is not getting you closer, and that's not a bad thing. Maybe you do want to change these things, but it's not a bad thing to be aware of the fact that maybe what you're doing is not getting you closer. But if you can sit with that, accept it, and be aware of where you're going, that might allow you to change things so that you can actually get closer. Because, when you have awareness, that's going to lead to change. When I went through my nutrition coaching certification, one thing I really learned was that the thing that causes actual change, whether it be, habits, mindset, physical change, whatever, which, for those of you guys that have been following my channel for some time, the mindset always leads into the physical, right? So the way you think about yourself, the results you have, they're correlated. But if you don't have awareness around where you're at, then you're never going to change. If you can become aware of where you are, and even if it's not optimal, even if it's not what you wanted, if you can just be aware of it, then pretty soon you're going to be able to make changes. And those changes are going to lead to better results, and those results are going to lead to your life. So if you aren't happy with where you are, then it just simply starts with you making changes that consistently line up with where it is you want to go. It's never too late to achieve your ideal physique. It's never too late to achieve your ideal life. Your mindset, your belief patterns, your actions, they're all correlated. And you know, it feels frustrating when you are living in the future, when you're living for that next big thing. But if you're living for, becoming better, then you stop caring about the end result and when it's going to come. You start focusing more on the person you are right now and how you can get just a little bit better, and you can start to appreciate where you're at, right? Like the results you've made, the progress you made. You probably looking back on, you probably made substantial progress within the last 30, 90 days, at least in one area of your life. And if you haven't, then that's okay. Again, like being aware is not a bad thing, but that just means like the next phase of your life, like start to look more in depth at where you're going, where you're currently sitting. If you're not content with it, that's okay. Just make changes. And I think that like if you can start to look at where you're at, where you're looking to go, and how you can get there, then that's going to be the first layer of awareness around these things. And having awareness is really what creates the change. And the change is probably what you're after. Like a lot of times in life, you have to just tackle these things, face them head on. And you might not feel ideal facing the uncomfortable truths in your life. But if you can, then it's going to make you comfortable being uncomfortable, right? Because if you're comfortable being uncomfortable, then that means you're comfortable facing the uncomfortable truths, which lead to you having the life that you say you want. So ultimately, you becoming uncomfortable with these things is for the best, because eventually you're going to lead to comfort, right? And having the life you want. So I hope that you guys got some value from this video. I kind of was losing my train of thought a couple times. I will say I'm pretty tired. I'm going to literally jump into bed and um exhaust my brain because I'm tired as heck, bro. But stay tuned for content like this, and just like be aware of where you are in your life. And if you're not satisfied with where you're at, it's all good, dude. But make change. And when you make change, life's gonna start to open up for you. So whether that's your physical health, your emotional health, your spiritual health, your mental health, whatever, maybe that's changing your nutrition up, maybe that's putting your faith first, maybe that's taking a new step in a direction that you've never gone before, maybe that's, layering your life one layer deeper, whatever. Like for example, if you're, a Christian, for example, and if you're not, it's all good, bro. I'm literally just talking about my faith and my own things, right? And trying to help those people out there. But if you are a Christian and you've been, going to church for a while, you've been reading your Bible, you've been praying, but like you haven't been tithing, then okay, maybe start to actually tithe, right? Like if you've been going to, church and you've been tithing and all these things, but like you still have vices, like maybe put the vices down for once in your life, right? Like if you're putting your fitness first and there's some bad habits you have, whether it's eating junk food or it's, you know, drinking alcohol, like maybe put those down, bro, for once and for all, because you know that it's going to help you. Maybe you're trying to expand the, potentials of your business, and there's one or two habits that are holding you back, and you know deep down that they're not affecting you. They're not affecting you that much, but they're also not helping you that much. If you know these things, you think these things, then maybe just like make the decision to change that area of your life, because it's going to get better. Like there's probably something in your life that you feel you could improve upon. And if you just started doing that, even just taking one step closer, you will probably realize that life gets so much more enjoyable because there was so much underneath that you just never saw before. But it starts with that feeling of uncomfort, facing that discomfort. And when you can do that, you can ultimately become comfortable. So that's what I'm going to label the video, title the video, become uncomfortable with comfort. You see, because most people are going to say the opposite, right? But become uncomfortable with comfort. And this is what's going to allow you to become the best possible version of yourself. And then you can look back on your life and realize, I actually set out all the things I wanted for myself, and I accomplished them, rather than doing the opposite, which is looking back in regret with misery from where you're at. So be grateful for what you have and become the person that you know deep down you are meant to be and that God's created you to be. And if you can do that, then you're going to actually realize how magical, how amazing life truly is. And so it starts with you, bro. Make the decision to become that person. And you will never look back with regret by trying to better your life. Drop in the comments and let me know if this video was valuable, and if it wasn't, then just get off my channel, bro. I'll see you guys in the next video on JStridefit on Instagram. If you guys want to hear more,